What's up, Bay fam, and welcome back to a new video. Now, this video is a kind of a special one because it might actually be a pretty much longer one that I usually do, due to the fact that I have a lot of coverage to do with this set. Now, before you know it, and of course because you know it probably because of the title of this video, no, it's not a random booster set. This set is one that I'm actually pretty happy to have, and unfortunately, well, not that much unfortunately, it is all mine. So let me explain just a real quick backstory about this set. When it was first announced, one of my friends, who is kind of new to Beyblade, wanted to get itself a new set of Beyblades. So I proposed to him to go half seas with this set. So like that I could have what I want from it, and he could have what he wants from it as well. But the problem is, because of the price I asked him to pay, he decided to tap out. So then I end up buying it for myself, and only for me. Sorry, buddy. I will say your name, but honestly, I don't want people to judge you bad about this. Sorry, Johnny, but you missed your opportunity. Yeah. So, this set, because of the title, you probably already know. It's the DX Fusion set. Oh yeah! This baby is now mine, completely mine. Not fully thrilled by it because of two bays inside that I probably won't use that much, but still pretty much cool anyways due to the part that they possess. And honestly, I cannot lie about this, it's officially the name of these pieces. I'm gonna tell you everything. But first, let's move on, of course, as we do usually, aka the shot of the box. Boom! Okay. So of course we have here in the front our beautiful bays, as well as the different gimmick that they can possess, as well as the new gear for Belial, aka one of the most recent gear. The next one being inside of the Burst versus Ultimate, aka Burst Spriggan versus Ultimate Valkyrie. With the VS gear, a gear that actually can attach itself to the driver because that's been released. It's a, sorry, I'm gonna swallow my saliva. So, it's a gear that can attach itself to the driver, aka the Adventure driver, or the Adventure driver, aka the first driver and the new driver of Belial. Cannot be attached to the Almighty driver, unfortunately, but it is a gear like the V gear. The only difference is that it has an free spinning plate attached to the V gear. So it's the VS gear. Basically meaning Valkyrie Spriggan gear. Or the Versus gear, or whatever you like to call it. Anyways, it's an amazing gear that will be able to be attached to your two drivers, aka the Adventure driver and the Venture driver. I don't know why exactly it cannot be attached to the All Might driver, but it's probably because of the free spinning plate that doesn't have. I will make my word in English and I will come back to you. It's probably because of the actual fact that the spinning plate cannot move correctly with the All Might driver. Who knows? We'll see in the future anyways. I'm probably gonna get this set myself because I'm pretty much in love with Spriggan. It's a very good bay. But not sure about... anyways, let's move on, okay? So, like I said, we have here our obligatory shot. We have here our launcher that comes with it, a custom LR launcher, blue and red, which is kind of beautiful, I must admit. I'm probably going to use this one more than the golden one, but it is to represent, of course, the Izashi brothers, aka Ikaru and Hyuga. I remember the name, Of course, here on the top you have your obligatory shot with the Telekatomi name right there, the launcher, the three bays, the BU Universe, Beyblade Burst, and of course the DX Deluxe version of the Fusion set. On the side of the box here, of course, you have your obligatory shot to show you that these bays could go from low mode to high mode. Of course, I prefer low mode, but other people can prefer high mode. It's their choice, their opinion. I have nothing to say about this because it's your customization! I am crazy. And of course, here on the side, you have the shot of Belial, aka Divine Belial, with the H gear in both mode, high mode and low mode, because yes, this bay could still go in both mode, no matter what, but here's a little thing that you need to know. If you use the H gear, the L gear can no longer be used at the same time, because the L gear represents the upper armor that forced Belial to be in high mode, that makes him be in high mode, and technically force him to be permalock in high mode with a little bit more weight on the armor. Of course, the H gear doesn't act like this. It's pretty much plastic and a bit of metal to add an extra design and of course some beautifulness to it. Now, here's the thing though. Since this set is a fusion set, like we have actually saw before with, I think was the Chozi series, yeah, with the two bays that Hyde used as training partners that were able to actually fuse together due to the fact that their blades could be separated and mixed together. I will not show you all the combination of these two bays, but I will try to do my best to show you different type that they can become. So, let's continue the side of the box, and let's see what we have here. With the back of the box, of course, you have your obligatory shot of every product and the main mix and change that they can do. You have your chart here to tell you which part is what and the name of it, of course. And you have even your sticker chart, because that is important. Weirdly enough, if you want to be sure to put the sticker at the right place, instead of looking the front of the box, you can always look the chart right here. I did say chart, huh? Sorry about that. Anyways, let's move on from the box to see the base itself. Of course, I will keep this closed because I need to know the name of the pieces. So, let's move this camera a little bit more forward. That's enough. Let's start with the Red Bay, aka Super Hyperion MR2. I want to make sure that I say that correctly, so it's MR2. Now, of course, here it is in its beautiful glory of red. I was not that much of a big fan in the Super King series with Helios and Hyperion. I'm sorry about that if you guys were, but I was more a fan of Lucifer, of course, because of the fact that this bay was just badass and had one of the gimmicks that was never reproduced ever again, except for a randomized booster, but you know what I mean. So, yes, here we have the Super Hyperion. This is Hyperion, not Helios. A right attack type spinning bay. So, each piece has, of course, their own name, and let's take this puppy down so you guys know exactly which are which. Now, of course, we're gonna start with the DB core, because duh. Let's take the armor out. Okay. So we have here the Hyperion DB core, made in beautiful profile mode, like we have Valkyrie and many other bays like Belial and etc. And if I remember correctly, I think also the Super King bays, the core chip of the Hyperion and Helios were actually facing sideways in profile mode. So this is like a comeback to where they were before. Now, the blades itself are called Super, which makes sense when you think about it. The Super Blade makes both defense and attack. Attack due to the middle here, and defense due to the rubber here. Now, when you put them together, when you mix them, you can actually mix to have pure attack or pure defense, or you could do swap and swapsies like you can actually do. Now, the way to put the base back, the armor back together, or the blades back together, you have to follow the railings of these pieces right here. I'm sorry if it's out of focus, but you're gonna see there's a little railing here. Make sure that you don't try to separate like this, because you're gonna break something. You actually need to be able to align both railings correctly, and when you're aligned correctly, you just press it until it clicks, and there you go. I thought I was able to do it with one hand, but no. And those little screws that you see here are actually for the junction point right there. These two white junction points. Now, as for the armor, it's not a new armor, it's a recurrent armor. Armor 2 that we saw with Dynamite Belial the first time. This is the same armor. The only difference is no stickers, because that Attack Academy decided to stop the stickers for the armor because either it was inefficient or it was just not that much useful and people were not using it anyways. The forged disc itself, it's not a new one, but a recurrent one, a comeback actually. It is the, if I remember correctly, yes, it's the tempered forged disc. It's not written on the box, but I remember by the fact that you have TP right there. So yeah. And as for his driver's name is Explosion, but not E-Explosion. Explosion. Because it's always better with an X. So, here we have Explosion with a rubber-like tip right here, yellowish. And this little plate on the side here, as you can see, it's a free spinning plate. It's gonna be quite amazing to see that perform in the arena. But if you ever want to see how long each bay could last in the arena on their basic stat, you could always go see Spin Toy. I will try to put a description in the box below of his video to make sure that you guys can be able to see the wonderful job that he did reviewing these bays without any sound, and of course trying them on inside of the stadium, each and every one of them with different timers to see which one was able to last longer. Hyperion, being attack type, did pretty good, I must admit, and due of the idea of time itself, it did a pretty decent job, of course. Or you could always check my video that I'm gonna do a little bit later, either tomorrow or depending on how things goes, on the test spin of these wonderful bays, with of course a battle round robin, Belial versus Hyperion and Helios. So, now, let's leave him undone, because with Helios coming up in a few seconds, I want to be able to show you the commutation as soon as I'm able to make sure that this video doesn't last too long. And by the way, with Helios, there's something very special I want to talk to you about because of the blades. Now, as we know, Hyperion blades are called Super. Technically, since this wonderful bay is called King Helios, let me just confirm. Yes, King Helios MR10. Since it's called King Helios, you can actually figure that the name of the blade would be King. Well, no. According to the official website of Terrakatomi, or maybe it's the wrong Google translation, the actual translation for the blades are Mr. Wang. Don't ask me why, I have no clue. But literally, it's Mr. Wang. It's crazy. I think I'm gonna go with King more than anything else because honestly, I don't seem calling him Mr. Wang Helios. It's King Helios and that's just that. Okay? So like I said, it might be a lost in translation and translation, I have no clue. But anyways, let's take this bad boy down so I can show you each piece one after the other. And like with Hyperion, the armor and the forged disc are two recurrent ones, not new ones, but what can I say? So here we have, if I remember correctly, I think it is stamina or it's Helios is a stamina type. That's true. So we have Helios being a stamina type and Hyperion being an attack type. And of course, like Hyperion, we have here a beautiful profile visual of Helios. We're gonna put them both side to side because they just look good. The two Sun King, the red Sun King and the blue Sun King, amazingly beautiful, and I love the design of the stickers as well. The silver on Helios makes him more like a frost giant kind of a deal more than Flare, but it is pretty much amazing. Now here we have the King blades, and pretty much like the Super blades, it is actually the same kind of design, but one of them is for left side and the other one is for right side, even though they're both ambidextrous, because they can be used in the same different mode. We have the armor here, be the armor 10, if I'm not mistaken, but yeah, I'm not. It's the armor 10, known back from many other bays that had actually this armor. So not new one, but pretty useful anyway. And we have, sorry about that. And we have the forged disc Ginga. Now, normally I thought they will use another forged disc due to the fact of being a stamina type. Stamina? Yeah, stamina. No. No, not balance. Not defense, not attack. Yeah, stamina. Okay, sorry, I was just confused in my mind right now. So yeah, the Ginga the Ginga Forge Disc being pretty good with stamina type, of course. I'm pretty amazed to see that they actually use this one more than like the over disc, which could be good with stamina type as well. And as for his driver, a brand new driver, sorry I need to read the name, the Zeal driver. So pretty much like the Explosion, you have a yellow rubber-ish performance tip right here. You have a free spinning plate in the middle like this. So cool. So it's a pretty good looking driver with this kind of blue transparent plastic. I must admit, it looks very good. Now, before I put these bad boys, like I said, together, let's take apart, ouch, both the blades to show you one of the commutation possible. So, to be able to do the fusion, of course, you need to, like I said before, combine the railings to actually put them back together. So this one right now, it's more like defense due to the fact of the rubber. And you could use it both with Helios and Hyperion. That doesn't change anything. The only thing is, if you can see, you have a huge gap here. Normally the gap would be a little bit more different depending on the bait that you decide to use it with. But this one is fully wide, fully open. Now let me show you why. Let's take, for an example, Helios. Yeah, Helios. You put it here like this. Inside of the... You take his armor 10. And you come and insert it. So as you can see, the armor 10 fits perfectly. We're gonna lock him up and use his forged disc with his driver. And as you can see, he's locked in left mode. But now let's change and put Hyperion in it instead. So let's take the armor off. Now let's take the armor 2. Put it right like this. You take your Hyperion. And as you can see, he fits. Normally, depending on the type of the bay, of course, like Spryzen for an example, you're gonna need to switch the blades from one part to another. But with these ones, you don't need it. Because of the fact that it's a fusion that could go both left and right mode, it has that ability to be wide enough to be able to put both core into it, not at the same time, of course, and be able to be used in both left mode and right mode. Like your customization with the launcher, these pretty much have the same kind of ability. Now, like I said, I will not show you all the different commutation, but you can do whatever you want with it, because after all, your own imagination is your own prowess. But let me just show you when I put together both metal. Nothing but metal. So there we have both metal. It's more like an attack type then, and if you look correctly, or of those stickers, it forms a H, like for the Izashi brothers or Hikaru and Hyuga, both starting with the H letter. So yeah, that's a pretty neat thing to see. Let me just, okay. There you go. Of course, it might be stiff at first when you try to separate them because after all, they're new pieces. But it is pretty easy to undo and redo whatever you like it. You could either keep them in normal mode, like this, just if you prefer to have them with their unique pattern and everything. Or you could actually do a mix-up with the pieces if you like to. Nothing's changed you for this. And here's a little thing that I want to show you guys actually, because it is an interesting fact. Let's put one of the armor in, and let's put Hyperion in it. And there you go. Hyperion being a right mode, could fit inside of Helios blades. Without any problem. So you see, that's the thing that is cool with those bays, because the commutation to do your fusion and whatever you decide with it is just amazing. If you want to change the side of your bay to go from left to right, the only thing that you need to change is the DB core. You don't need to do any flippy flip with the blades. You can keep them like they are, like this, perfectly set together, just for the fun of it. You put your armor in it, you put your core, and you seal the deal with your forge disc and your driver, and there you go. You see, this one is left mode, but with the super blades, and you have here a right mode with the king blades. See how crazy that is? I'm honestly flabbergasted by the fact that Terrakatomi made another set like this that is just crazy and out of this world. So yeah, honestly, big thumbs up for them. I mean, it's just crazy, but it works. Now, I know that technically it's not considered to be the main event, since these are the actual main event of the set. But I have another one to show you with different mode that I actually want to show you guys. So here it is, without further ado. Belial, Divine Belial to be more precise. H gear. Now, if I show closer up this little bad boy, if you look correctly, this one is back with the frontal face like the Dynamite, but with more like a squish version instead of being in wild. And I must admit that seeing him like this kind of make me think of Lucifer. I won't bring Lucifer up again every time because he's one of my favorite bays, but still, he looks kind of like Lucifer. And if you look correctly on the L gear, you're gonna see that you have 3 different colors: red, blue, and purple. The red and the blue represent the 2 Hisashi brothers, Hyuga and Hikaru. And according to many fans and many suspicion, maybe even just some basic rumor, the purple is supposed to represent Lane Valhalla, aka Lucifer wielder. So, is that a confirmation that we're gonna have a Lucifer in the future? I don't know, but I can just say that I am highly stoked for this. Now, technically I'm not a big fan of the gold myself. So the golden blades for this Belial is not my favorite ones, but I could still make some changes to go with my black and red wings if I prefer. There's nothing changing me there. Of course, I'm gonna show you all the pieces all together. One of them actually, it's a recurrent one we already saw before, and one of them, of course, being the new gear, being completely new. So let me just separate this. Perfect. Okay. Now let's start with the core, of course. Here we have Belial 3. Belial 3 because it's a new design. Sorry about that. So, here we have Belial 3 with the beautiful face front design with the beautiful golden crown and everything. And if you look here in the back, you're gonna have the burst lock that actually Belial 2 came with, as well as if you look at the teeth correctly. I'm sorry if it's not the best one. It is a new burst lock as well. It is less less easy to actually burst this bay thanks to these 2 mechanics being put inside the DB core. Now up for the H gear. Now as you can see right here, the armor itself, the H armor, it's kind of a little bit of wimpy here, and that's because it goes with the other part of the H gear, aka this plastic part. When they're formed together, they will be locked. Sorry, I need to hold it correctly to make sure it doesn't fall. It's gonna be locked like this and create a perfect interlock with the 2 little pegs that you have with each of your DB core. Now, of course, in high mode or low mode, you can just have to flip it upside down because that's usually what happens. But I'm gonna show you a high mode and I'm gonna show you low mode as well. So let's take this one like this. Take this like so. Yeah, okay. Now we take the other part of the H gear. There we go. Let's take... Of course, I'm gonna show you after because I have to show you other pieces. But first, here what it looks like in high mode. You're gonna have the H gear plastic at the bottom and of course the H gear armor on the top. So, We have, as the forged disc, of course, a recurrent one that is actually pretty much unique to Belial. The Nexus disc, to be able to go with the S gear, D gear, and unfortunately another gear in the future, I don't know yet. But anyways. And as for its driver, we have the bearing drift driver. Now, this little puppy is actually not a recurrent one, but a new version of the drift driver that was released with Lucifer's The End, but not as strong as the metal drift bearing driver. The metal bearing drift driver, metal bearing drift driver, because of the fact that the spring lock itself, it's not made of metal, so it's not as strong as normally. But anyways, of course, the drift driver, you have a spinning plate. The tip itself is auto spin, and inside of the driver itself, you have a bearing. I don't know if you guys know what a bearing is, but a bearing would help with the momentum and causality of a gyroscopic set, kind of. It's weird to say, but honestly, it makes sense. Now, let's put him up together in high mode. The driver wants... There we go. So, there you have it in high mode. So, as you can see, the H gear is right there. It creates a little bit of gap, of course, but it is pretty much stable and beautiful. Of course, I will not keep it like this because I have my own version that I want to put up right now, actually. So, without waiting anymore, I'm gonna take this bad boy apart to put him in the other function. There you go. Let's do that. Now, by using my black divine blade, I'm gonna put my Belial here in the middle like this. Put the H gear like so. Take the armor like this. There you go. Oh, I forgot to put the A gear. Because that's the thing, you could put the A gear, the F gear, depending on what you want. It doesn't matter in the end. It will still work with the Divine Blades. I think I'm gonna keep going. Do I do a changes? Yeah, I'm gonna do a little bit of change, just to mix it up a bit. I'm gonna put the F gear on. So, yeah, just like that. Let's put that like this inside. Now it comes with this one. There we go. Just to change things up a little bit. I'm gonna keep the D gear on because the D gear is pretty much a great piece. And of course the drift driver because why not? And there you have it. Belial with the F gear, D gear, drift driver, and the H gear within the black divine blades. Honestly, I think I prefer that kind of design more than the golden one. I will not get rid of those ones because they could always be useful in case I want to change things up, but they will no longer be used with this one. They're going to be used with this core. It will be used with something else. But yeah, that's pretty much it for now, as I wanted to show you guys. Of course, you could always decide to put the Venture Driver with the V gear, depending on what you prefer, or the Adventure Driver, or even you could put the Almighty Driver, depending on what you prefer. No one stops you. And here's something I want to precise to you. The H gear can only be used with the Divine Blade. It cannot be used with the Dynamite and cannot be used with the Dangerous Blade. I wish they could, but they can't. So, yeah. Until then, guys, as always, take care of you, stay safe, and I love to say that always. Spit out! Yeah!